I followed the standard protocol for cancer treatment, but at the same time I read voraciously, and before I could pray for healing, I realized I had to answer a couple questions. One was, does God really love me? And two, is it His will for me to be healed? So after the surgery, the surgeon came in with the pathology report, and he said to me, well, you're one smart lady. And I think he was referring to the conversation I'd had with him previously, and he said, there is absolutely no sign of any cancer. Andrew was sitting there with me at the time. And he said, there's no indication of any cancer. You have what would appear to be 100% pathological remission. And he went on to say the way he said it made it sound like there had never been any cancer there. And I may have built that up into my head, but it was powerful because he went on to say we had perfect margins to remove the radiated tissue and sew me back together. And when do you ever hear a surgeon use the word perfect in anything? So he was just acknowledging that God had been at work, and we took that as a sign that, I was healed.
When I tried to fit in, of course peer pressure comes. Of course, you got to do the things that everybody else is doing. So I formed habits of partying. I formed habits of drinking. I formed habits of smoking weed. I formed habits of fornication. I was out there doing my own thing. Everything started to change around June and July of last year, and I was actually invited to a church concert. I think it was Travis Green and Jonathan McReynolds. Those were the two guys that I mainly remember. Throughout that concert, I tell y'all that the Spirit of the Lord was at that place, and the lyrics from their songs were just speaking to me. I felt like everything that I was wrestling with, everything that I was thinking to myself, I was hearing God speak to me through those lyrics. And it was one specific song from Jonathan McReynolds that the lyrics said, I'm not going to sing it, but the lyrics said, Lord, I'm split in two. Part of me loves the world and the other loves you. So what do? I want to be saved, but I got to stay cool too. And no, I'm not a fool. I know eventually I'm going to have to choose. And really, I don't want to lose my ticket into heaven and a chance to be used by you. And when I heard that, I just felt like immediately right then and there I wanted to just stop what I was doing and step over into a new direction, to a new life, and to a new pathway. I just want to be somebody that God uses to reach the younger generation, to let them know that it's okay to be a Christ representative. It's okay to let people know that you love the Lord. It's all right to be unashamed. You don't have to be ashamed. You don't have to care what people think. It's all about the Lord's work.
Could not understand how God knew this was going to happen, and I had no warning. How could you let the enemy take my child? And probably for 6 months, I would not go to church. And one day, I remember, I knelt down to pray. And I began to scream as loud as I could. And I realized how angry I was with God. And I began to ask God, why? Why would you let this happen to my baby? How? And I could do nothing. I would have gave my life for my baby. And the Lord told me, like you, I gave my only son, and he had nowhere to lay his head. And he went from place to place, and I gave him everlasting peace. And that soothed me, because I knew there was no more pain, no more shame, no more hurt. And then I began the healing process. God began through the hurt, the pain, the bitterness. God began to heal. He began to turn that stony heart into a heart of compassion. Not only can I sympathize, I can empathize with someone that has lost a child.
My Uncle Larry was a business owner. He owned Yarbrough's Cafe in Kingfisher, Oklahoma, which is a small town about 30 minutes west of Oklahoma City. He was very vocal and the life of the town, and a lot of times because of that, he drew attention to himself. And my senior year in high school, his house was raided, and after 10 hours of the police searching his house and bringing in drug dogs, they supposedly found drugs in his house. And my uncle denied any wrongdoing and denied that he actually had anything, and instead of taking a plea bargain, he fought his case.
The sheriff came over, well, he said, when I told him, I said, I still have all my rights. I'm just a detainee for the court. I haven't been sentenced to nothing, and I ain't gonna be sentenced because I'm innocent.
June 14th was one of the days that we had spent 23 years praying for. And on that day, he was finally released from prison. And it was so awesome that everybody wanted to be there for him. And people from all over the country started flying in and called him. And we planned a huge celebration to celebrate his homecoming with all of his friends and family. I believe God is always going to respond on his time. And you have to continue to have faith. You have to continue to believe. And ultimately, he is the judge in a courtroom.
And by his stripes, we are healed. 2003, I was working doing excavation, cutting down trees. And I had an accident on my job. And I got hit upside my head. And my head was split. So I go to the hospital and they took x-rays. And they found spots on my brain. The spots were lesions, which I later found out it was multiple sclerosis. 2 years later, I lost my ability to walk without help, without assistance. So what would have came from 2003 until I moved here to Texas and started going to International Harvest Christian Fellowship, where there's a healing ministry there where I'm involved in now, where I received my healing. From 2003 to 2011, I walked with a cane. And by God's stripes, I'm healed. Today, I'm healed today. Today, I couldn't tell where that cane is at because I don't need it anymore. God has replaced my cane with strength from up on high. Today, I run around with the children. I ride a bicycle today. I skate today. Ice skate. I can roller skate. I can play. God's just renewed my whole body. Total healing is what he does. My name is Brian Johnson. This is my story, my life, my testimony.